Okay, good day everyone, and thank you so much for joining me on this new series that I'm doing, where I'm exposing the Bible chapter for chapter. Uh, if you like these videos and you want to see more of this, I'll be uploading a video every week, and so feel free to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And yeah, also feel free to like and subscribe, like and share this video to all your friends. Okay, so anyway, without further ado, let's get started. uh, so yeah, I'm not going to start with the first chapter of Genesis where God creates the entire earth and everything, because we've all heard this, and everyone knows about this. It's the first thing you hear in Sunday school. But I'm going to start basically from the end of chapter 2 and the beginning of chapter 3. So, here I have the story of just after where God made Adam and Eve and where they are in the garden. I'm going to read the entire chapter, so bear with me. The reason for this is that I don't want anyone telling me that I'm taking things out of context. And this is why you can see everything here. I'm going to take it in the context, in the chapter, everything that it is. And we're going to see what does this actual chapter in the Bible say. Okay, so it says, they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, Yea, as God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said to the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For God doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed the fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said to him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And God said unto the woman, What is this thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all the cattle, above all and every beast of the field. Upon thy belly thou shalt go, and dust thou shalt eat of all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. Okay, so now he's just dealing out punishment here, and I'm not going to read all that. You can go read it for yourself if you want. There's plenty of online Bibles, and maybe you own a Bible as well, then you can just go read it in your own Bible. I want to get to the actual, I want to get to the actual message here. So first of all, I want to start off by saying, you know what? Uh, it was very irresponsible for God to command Adam not to eat of the fruit and expect him to obey. And the reason why I say this is that if you read, it says here that Adam didn't know the difference between good or evil before he ate from the tree. You know, so, and this is when God actually commanded him not to eat from the tree, before he knew the difference between right and wrong. So let's just consider what kind of a person is a person that can't distinguish between good and evil. This is the kind of person that can rape someone and he won't know that it's bad. He can murder someone in cold blood and you'll be fine. You'll be like, oh well, that's cool. Just another, just another day in the garden. And that's the kind of person that doesn't know the difference between good and evil. I can go on and on about that, So I want to use an example here. Like, let's say we have someone in a room and his job is to press buttons. And he's got two buttons in front of him, but he can't tell the difference between, what is it, green and blue, right? You get green, blue colorblind. I'm not sure how color blindness works, if it's red, blue, or green, blue, or how it actually works. But let's say this guy is like green, blue colorblind, right? So you can't tell the difference between green and blue, and the one button is blue and the other button is green. But to him, both buttons look the same. And the one button actually sets off a nuclear warhead, and the other button does nothing. It's neutral. Okay, so then the boss comes in and he says, Jeremy, you better not press the wrong button and set off a nuclear warhead, or else you're fired. Poor Jeremy doesn't know the difference, so I can tell you now he's going to press the wrong button eventually, right? And what can we say about this kind of employer? We would say he's irresponsible. He's really irresponsible for employing someone that is not capable of doing that kind of job. And this is the same with Adam. He wasn't capable of telling the difference between good and evil. It's the same as, if you can't differentiate between something, how can you make an informed decision? How can you be blamed for the decision you made out of ignorance? And therefore God is unjust to punish Adam for this, Besides, what is wrong? What is wrong with knowing the difference of good and evil? What is wrong with that? I mean, a psychopath is a person that doesn't care about the difference of good and that's why he can murder people, do all kinds of things and not feel bad, So, I think that knowing good and evil is very important, and a God that thinks that it's okay for people not to know the difference between this, we should question this God. Anyway, it goes deeper. It goes much deeper than this because, and the reason why I told you that is it's because I get a lot of Christians that tell me that, Adam didn't know, but he was wrong for disobeying God. How can you hold Adam accountable for something that he had no control over? He had no way of knowing that it's even wrong to disobey God because he had no knowledge of good and evil. And here's the proof, verse 25, they were naked and they didn't even know. That's just to show you they were walking around naked and they didn't care, they had absolutely no idea what is good and evil. Okay, so then it says, the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. And what I'm going to go into now is, I ask people, what did Satan actually do wrong in the story? And they say, yeah, he lied to Eve. Well, okay, but I'm going to prove that actually Satan did not lie to Eve. He told the truth, and God unjustly, unfairly punished him for telling the truth. And who does that? Who punishes someone for telling the truth? So, he asked the woman, and he said, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the garden, of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. God said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Okay, so then the serpent said, and this is important that you pay attention so that you can see his exact words. He said that ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So when I read this in chapter 7, not chapter 7, in verse 7, it says, it doesn't say, and they ate of the tree and they, nothing happened. Or that their eyes stayed blind and they still, it doesn't say that. What it says is that their eyes were opened. And what did the serpent say? The serpent said their eyes will be opened. Then it says, and they saw that they were naked. Okay, obviously, because their eyes were open and they could now differentiate. Okay, so actually, everything that the serpent said would happen, happened. So he didn't lie. But yes, then some people will come back and they will say, yeah, but the serpent said that they won't die. And, they did die. Yes, but if you read further on in the next chapters, you will see after the genealogy of Adam that it says there Adam lived to be the ripe old age of 980 years. Okay, so they didn't die immediately when they ate this fruit. In fact, the serpent was right. They didn't die. And their eyes were opened. And Adam lived to be old, very old. He lived to be older than most people in even our civilization. How many people do you even know that's like 900 years old, So actually, no, Adam lived a full, long life after eating from this tree. And, so actually the serpent told the truth. And now let's see what is the punishment that God dishes out. And in the Bible, many times this happens where God punishes innocent people. So let's see what is the punishment for telling the truth. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly thou shalt go, and dust thou shalt eat all the days of thy life. Wow, what a fair punishment for someone who was telling the truth. Moral of the story, God is a liar and he hates anyone who tells the truth. Because obviously, what does God have to hide? What does God have? Why is he so threatened by, human beings being able to differentiate between good and evil? And why did he hide this from them? Why did he play such a nasty trick on Adam? This God really doesn't seem to me like a fair, loving God, just God. And then, but that's not just my interpretation either. You just saw this here for yourself in the actual Bible. So what I'm going to do now is, because a lot of people will say, yeah, he's taking it out of context and they don't believe me. So what I'm going to do is, in my next videos, I'm going to go chapter for chapter through the Bible and bring more scriptures that confirm this. And by the end of this series, there will be no doubt left in your mind that what I'm saying is actually true. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in next week for another amazing video. Thank you very much.